before the referee even blew the whistle for full time at the City ground when Nottingham Forest lost 3-0 to Chelsea, which, by the way, they didn't play that badly either. I do want to get into that. Ange Posticoglou had already been sacked by Nottingham Forest owner Marinakis. There was something almost like a Greek tragedy or something like Roman about it, him and his throne watching and then leaving the stadium when there's plenty of game to go, when they're only 2-0 down, they had chances. He was gone, he did the Julius Caesar, thumbs down, off with Ange's head, and he was sacked before full time, like I said, before the ref even blew for full time. I'm pretty sure he didn't do any post-match media. He certainly didn't on Match of the Day, because I saw Enzo Maresca speak, but not Ange Postecoglou. So feel free to correct me if I'm wrong there. But pretty freaking wild, man. They've already had 2 managers this season, Nuno and Ange, and I think you can only have 3 per season. I think that's in the rules. So now they need to replace him. I want to speak about this, the appointment, the ambitions, the insanity, the erratic decision-making, and nothing would be a better indicator of erratic decision-making than the 2 rumoured coaches being between Sean Dyche and Roberto Mancini. Where's the planning? Yeah? Look, it's so much to talk about. This Forest's reintroduction into the Premier League, and indeed now European football, has been absolutely box office. It does have that mob boss vibe of Marinakis being, literally sitting there watching on, making all the decisions, main character syndrome, making poor decisions. The fans kind of love him because he's hugely ambitious, because he's invested heavily, because he's brought them back into the Premier League, and then he's brought them back into Europe. What else can you ask for? Well, maybe none of the high-profile nonsense that's come with it and this needless drama and really, like I say, really poor decisions. We're going to get into it. Anyway, look, welcome back to Football Yannick. It's been a few days since I've uploaded, so apologies for that. I do try and be consistent on this channel, so I'll thank you for sticking with me, and I do want to get to 20k subs, so if you want to hear my thoughts on the big footballing stories, do consider liking and subscribing to this channel, Football Yannick. But I do want to talk about it. So Ange was sacked because of look, apparently he was on the chopping block anyway, yeah? So there was almost like this vibe of, well, if they look really good against Chelsea, beat Chelsea or draw or something, then maybe he'll get some time and maybe he'll get the Thursday game and yada, yada, yada. Incidentally, I don't think they played that bad against us, me being a Chelsea fan saying us. They generated a higher XG. They had some chances, they missed some sitters. Chelsea were presenting them chances though, misplaced passes, and they were wasteful, but they did generate some high quality chances themselves. There was a game plan to man-mark certain Chelsea players, and it was working in a press. Out of all the games, I know they lost. I don't think it was taking off my blue-tinted specs, I don't think it was a 3-0 game at all. We benefited off the moments, essentially. Like I said, Forest had a higher XG than Chelsea. So it's kind of almost like, God, do I feel a sympathy for Ange? I fluctuated in my opinion of Ange Postecoglou because I think he's behaved like an absolute knobber sometimes to media, when it's literally your job to not to do that and answer basic questions. Sometimes he's disgusted because he's been asked a basic question. So I loved him at first. I was like, oh, breath of fresh air. Then I thought he behaved like a bit of a sausage. But I do have sympathy for him here because it's an insane. He should never have taken the job. Yeah, I get it. He's just won a trophy. He's feeling himself. After, dropping that line, I always win a trophy in my second season at Tottenham, coming good. It is a vibe, isn't it? Even though you get sacked by Tottenham, your sort of stocks are relatively high. You're going to a team that's in that competition, Europa League. Forest is a massive club with a massive fan base in the Premier League. It's a high-profile Premier League job. It's not the highest, but you'd have to say the likes of Forest is higher profile than, promoted, yo-yo clubs. Even your Fulhams, your Crystal Palaces, maybe, because of the prestigious history of Forest, and of course, being in Europe. So it's a high-profile Premier League job, so I understood why he took it. But he should have like smelt the coffee with that owner. The owner himself, like green flags, red flags were going off all over the gaff when the owner was like, yeah, the Greek connection, Posticoglou, he speaks Greek. You're thinking, what are you doing, mate? Just because he's won the Europa League and he speaks Greek, that's not, and you're in the Europa League, look at the context. Look at their run to the Europa League final. Look who they met. Look how they played. Look how the team that he was coaching at the time in Tottenham, how they were performing. It was an awful appointment. It was an awful appointment also because they had gone from Nuno, which is a completely different style, robust, counter-attacking, transitional football, to this ideological, philosophical, attacking, high-octane football and Ange, which, by the way, hasn't worked in the Premier League since like his first 10 games in charge at Tottenham a couple of years ago. There was no reason to believe, A, Ange would make it work, and B, this was a good idea generally. Now, of course, to be completely fair to the narrative arc, they did want to change the style of football with Nuno. That's why they made a lot of different signings. Nuno did try and change the style a little bit, and I think that's when their form dropped off, because he wasn't being his true, authentic Nuno Espirito Santo self. But what they've done is, they've ruined a good thing, yeah? They qualified for Europe, they blagged their way into an additional higher competition in the Europa League from the conference, from, writing letters and trying to dob Palace in so they could steal their place, which they successfully achieved. Fair enough. The game's the game, isn't it? All is fair in love and war. But they were vibing under Nuno when they let him play how he wanted. Of like Hudson-Odoi and Chris Wood scoring loads of goals. But Marinakis, and again, this is he's just hugely ambitious. Which, if I was a Forest fan, I'd be like, cool, we're going to try and win the Premier League in a few years, and we're going to play attacking football. And rather than just taking a breath and being like, right, where are we? Let's keep doing this good. He just wanted to throw everything up in the air and be like, go, 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 more, harder, faster, better. We're going to capitalise off this success by being doubly as good in a different style of football. Simply not realistic in any way. And the appointment of Ange was insane. How was Posticoglou ever going to be the guy that's going to make your, by league ranking, Europa Conference League qualifying team into a Champions League qualifying team? A guy who's just finished with 39 points with an amazing Tottenham team. There is no reason to believe that guy can do it. Now, of course, this whole thing stemmed from Nuno falling out with the owner and indeed not seeing eye to eye with Edu, the new sporting director, who is the sporting director now for all his clubs. He's like a big figure for Marinakis, like he does stuff for Olympiacos now. He's going to be like a top dog in his network. So incidentally, he becomes more important than Nuno, I guess. But they should have found a way to make it work. And yes, I need to, of course, recognise and speak about how Nuno made it untenable for himself. He came out with some stuff that he said in the public and the media and press conferences that he knew was going to contribute to getting himself sacked. It was a deliberate move. Do you know what I mean? Because Nuno's very statesman. He's very political. He knows when to how to calm things down, and he did that very well early doors in his Forest tenure when the freaking owner was constantly in the headlines. For all the wrong reasons, Nuno Espirito Santo navigated that very well until he decided he was going to change and start saying the relationship's broken down, it's not, this, that and the other, it's done. And he was asking to be sacked, basically. Just like Ange was, in a different way. Ange didn't actually want to be sacked. He wasn't literally asking to be sacked, like in a way Nuno was. He was doing it by just underperforming hugely. And now they're at this position, right, where they need to get wins in the Europa League to qualify from the league phase, and they need to not be in a relegation battle in the Premier League. Yeah, so maybe you do sign Sean Dyche, but then is Sean Dyche your guy? Mancini would be such a high-profile appointment for Nottingham Forest, and the truth is, Forest have got a great squad. It's a hard-to-manage squad because yet again they brought in 1 million players. Chelsea fan, I know, saying about bringing in loads of players, but the point still stands at Forest. They brought in so many players. They've not utilised their record signing. Is it Mari Hutchinson their record signing? I think he might be. But there's loads of players, Chris Wood's not been starting, and he was like their consistent goal scorer all the time. I get it, age profile, and maybe his style and speed doesn't lend itself to quick movement attacking football. But they've obviously brought the new boy in, the striker. They've not been using... Ange wasn't using Callum Hudson-Odoi from the start. It's just so much unused talent. No one knows how to play who, where. Do you know what I mean? When they've got such a great core, great centre-backs, decent enough... Well, they got what's-his-face Anderson in midfield. They've got loads of good players. Yeah, no, I get it. There's huge ambition there. They've brought in a lot of talent. The owner wants to win trophies. He wants to be in the Champions League. Of course, Forest have won 2 European Cups. So you'd feel conflicted as a Forest fan because you'd like how he's brought you back to the big time, this geezer. You like how his ambitions are sky high, but you'd also have this sobering realization of, whoa, this guy says sobering. This guy's drunk. Someone, can you take him home and we'll talk about this in the morning because he's just going mental. The appointment of Ange Posticoglou was mental. The allowance of the breakdown of relationship with Nuno was mental, especially considering it was just the perfect concoction for success, and he's just burned it all down, you know. And the Ange appointment's thrown them back massively, and now they have to get this final appointment right, whether it is Dyche or Mancini. And I'll be honest, like, I think you go for Dyche. He lends himself better to like the Nuno style of play, low block and counter. I know it wasn't the best time at Everton, Sean Dyche, and his stock's probably quite low. He used to be the kind of manager when you go, wow, he's never been given the chance to have good players. He only plays like that with Burnley because that's the players he's got. But I do wonder if he could be this expansive, progressive attacking manager, because that's what they want apparently at Forest now, and that's what they've got the players for. Mancini will be a very interesting one indeed. He's 60 years old now. Of course, he's won the Premier League before, a long time ago now, but there is that. Of course, he's won at international level as well. I don't know, it's just such a circus over there. It's hard to like take your eyes away from it, but mental really, and I think it all comes down to the owner. It's just insane. He's brought greatness, but with a huge side order of insanity that's causing issues. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Thank you for joining me and hanging out here today. I love making these videos, so if you enjoy watching them, thank you for liking and subscribing. And I hope to see you back here soon. Alright, peace.